Hi guys, so today I've got a really special and exciting unboxing slash review for me, mainly review I suppose. It's going to be my new DJ controller. It's really nice, it's a huge upgrade from what I had previously. If you hadn't guessed by now, it is the native Instruments Traktor Kontrol S4, their flagship controller, and perhaps one of the more expensive controllers in the market right now, so it is certainly an upgrade from what I was using previously, the Numark Mixtrack Pro. Whilst the Mixtrack Pro did a really good job, I felt that I actually needed something more that would work better with the software that I most commonly use, which is Traktor Pro 2. And of course, why not buy a controller from the people who actually make Traktor, which is not just it's not just the only reason why I bought this. I did thoroughly look at reviews, and I was looking at the Denon DN DC 6000, I believe it is, or something similar to that, their controller, which actually integrated an external mixer into it as well. So that was impressive, although it didn't have all the features that I needed, or the features that this has anyway. It's a big upgrade. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's at the higher end of DJ controllers. So if you're just starting out computer DJing, I wouldn't recommend you jump in, because this normally cashes in at about £700, £800. 800 is normally with a flight case. I just got mine by itself. Although I plan to buy a flight case, because obviously if you've got this expensive thing, you're going to want to protect it, which I would highly recommend you do, especially with this. I didn't have one with the Mixtrack Pro because that was a lot cheaper and smaller, and it would just fit in my laptop bag, whereas this, I'm going to need to carry it around separately, so a flight case is a more feasible option for me anyway. Now you can probably wail on at me for not doing a voiceover styled review, although I prefer to just do it this way now because I can get it all out in the one take normally. I've got a lot to cover on this, so it's probably going to be a fairly long video, I'm estimating. My computer's going into screensavers and that there. So anyway, we'll just take a look at it from a basic point of view. This is a 4-deck controller. I know you're probably thinking, oh, where's the 2 extra decks? It's only got 2. Essentially what you do is you hit these buttons up here. You've got a deck C button. I'll see if I can get a close up on that for you. I know it's not very easy to see on the camera, and I'm going to have to go into manual focus as well. There you go. So you can see there's a button literally up at the top left hand side, and there's one over on the right hand side of the controller as well. You can't really see there. I can get that up for you. There you go. You can sort of see it now. So that's where the 2 deck switching buttons are. You can't control all 4 decks at once, which is a pity, although for me, I find deck A and B enough to control, besides doing C and D as well, queuing stuff at the same time. So you can go from stuff like A to D, C to B, all of that as well. And you'll see, the main thing that you'll notice that makes this a 4-deck controller, of course, you have got the 4 faders on the mixer units there. So when you hit the C deck, obviously the light will change over from a nice blue on the A to a nice C here. Something that I actually do like about this controller, I'll say it right now, it's got a very high build quality compared to most other controllers, especially compared to the plasticyness, or whatever word you'd use to describe that, of the Mixtrack Pro. This is why it's a step up, because you've got some nice aluminium, black aluminium around the side here, and you've got this nice glossy surface, which is prone to fingerprints, but as of all glossy surfaces and glasses are, you'll soon learn to adjust to that, and it just gives it a really nice polished look. Truly, sometimes you'll find that products on websites don't look as good as they would appear in real life, although I'd say this is closer to the real deal, really. It looks really nice, it's stunning in life, in the form as just as well as it is on video, I'm sure as well. You can see it if you're watching this in 1080p in YouTube. If you're only watching this in 360p, I highly recommend you actually watch it in 1080p or 720p. Obviously, I'd understand if your connection wasn't good enough, but it's really nice because it shows the actual crispness of the unit and everything. One thing you do notice with this unit is a qualm that I have with it now. The faders come off too easily. Now, you could argue that, why would you let the faders come off? I'm just saying, I didn't actually mean to take this off now, and it just came off. It will stay on most of the time, that's not really an issue. It's just something I picked up on whilst I'm doing that. But otherwise, the faders have a generally nice feel to them. As I said, nothing at all feels cheaply built or made on this unit. It is very precise, high-end, really nice build quality. You couldn't really ask for anything more build-wise. Yes, so anyway, we'll crack on with the review. So we have our two decks here, two platters. One thing I'll mention as well with this, if you touch the outside, that is just pitch control, whereas on Traktor anyway, you need to actually press down on the button on the inside. You can see there's a light going on over there, and then you can actually scratch with stuff. Actually, if we get some audio going here, that'll be good. There you go, whereas when you're just playing stuff, there you go. So that's essentially, and it's obviously scratch when you're not actually playing anything. Yes, so that's your basic deck controls. Now I'll cover the mixer, then I'll come back to all of these buttons and that down there. So basic 4-channel mixer, it's what you would want and more essentially. You've got your gain controls up here, you just press them in to go back to normal. So channels C, A, B, D. Took me a bit of time to get used to because I wouldn't want to do this in a club, but you mistake channel C for being channel A because you would normally, logic would have it goes A, B, C, D. That might just be me though. So that's what I got confused with on the first time anyway, but it's something you get used to. So you've got your high, mid and low, as well as something that's quite good on this. You may think it'd be, why on earth would you put this on a channel? But it's a filter knob here. Yes, knob's a funny word. Yes, but you've got your filter knob here anyway. That's quite useful, I find now actually. You probably would think it's quite an obscure thing to put in the filter line, but obviously Traktor, or Native Instruments even, are trying to match the look and feel of Traktor, and they're doing that just by including a filter knob on each channel, which is quite useful when you want to create those drops and emphasize them and that. So filter knob's quite a nice touch to the unit as well. You've got your main out up here. This volume knob up here is only controllable when you're actually using the sound card on board. And these two VU indicators, not sure if you can see them from here, but the two VU indicators at the top will only light up when you are using the sound card that's built in. Likewise with the other many output features, I suppose, of the device. It will show when you're clipping though if you're going through a different sound card. The only time I was going through a different sound card is when I was using the Sapphire Pro 24 because it was just already linked up to my system. Other than that, you've got your main volume out up here, which is a nice sensible place to have it. You have got a browse function here. You can scroll through, add stuff, etc. I haven't actually worked out what the snap and quant button, that quant's probably got, there we go. They work with the Q output, so I personally haven't had a chance to go through single thing in depth yet, so it's probably something I'll cover as I get through with it. Anyway, you've got a very nice function here, a loop recorder, which is a higher end feature, I suppose, of the controllers. The mix track didn't have one, much like the filters and the outputs and all of that as well. Now the loop recorder, what you can do is record loops, say for example MC over your mix or whatever, and then it will just keep playing it, and you can add stuff to it. You can change the length of it as well, so you can make it up to 32 bars long, and as little as 1 bar long, I believe, or it might even be 4. So anyway, you have got your loop recorder there. Nice browse button. You can change so you can look at tracks if you've got a small screen, especially useful on my laptop, even though it has got a 15-inch screen, which has got a nice resolution on it. It's quite difficult to actually see your collection when you want all fully featured decks on the screen. So you can just tap that button, go into collection mode, find a song that you want, then you can see these 4 Q buttons here as well. Now they do have their own Q function, although what is useful about them is, I'm not sure if you can see there, but they're all flashing up nicely there. I'll turn the light off so you can see all the lights. Ooh no, it's gone all noisy, oh well. Anyway, you have got your browsing function there, so you can find a song on here. Just say, for example, I have got NAS here, and you can just tap A. There we go, so it's loaded up, and I can just hit play. Well, hopefully I can, anyway. No, I'm still in collection mode, that'll be why. Yeah, so anyway, you have got your... You've obviously added it in. Now you can just hit play, there we go. Oh no, I spoiled the drop there. Sorry about that. I just was experimenting with the filter. So that's your filter control as well. Did a mini demo for you there. So that's how to add something to the track. Let's have some light back again. Yes, so anyway, there you go. So that is the basic cue functionality and adding stuff to the decks on the S4. So that covers essentially the mixer segment. And one thing I will mention is your FX controls, like to turn on FX 1 and 2. You've got these nice buttons up here, which is an easy reach above each channel, which again is nice. What you have got with the S4 is you can, if you want to kind of imagine all the controls that you have, every single software control, I believe, or the major software controls anyway, well, not major as in the very basics, but more advanced stuff you will find on there. More or less, much of everything is mapped onto the controller, onto the software. So it's essentially controlling Traktor physically as opposed to just using a keyboard and mouse. And yes, you can do that on other controllers, although the point that this has is everything is in the relative same place that you'll find it in Traktor, which is a very nice function personally. Well, I find personally anyway. Okay, right, let's move on to the decks. So now we have got deck A or C here, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, you have got the basics to begin with. You have got your jog wheel. You're scratching, you can scratch away to your heart's content there. Deck C button, I covered that already. You've also got another load button, so you've got another song. You can just hit load and it will reload the song for you. Now, I will just go down with it. So there's your turntable again. Now, this panel here, I will zoom in on that so you can see every single function there. So when you switch to deck C, obviously it will change to deck C there as opposed to deck A, deck C. And something else that's quite useful is you have got a key lock indicator, master indicator, on-air indicator, samples indicator as well. So say for example when I bring the channel up slightly, you can see that is behind the knob there, but that is the on-air light lighting up. And then when I hit play, the master light comes on because it's going through the master channel. So that is your mini... well, I suppose, indicator section. Now this section here, you can see we have the loops, so you can change the length of the loop. So you've got all the way from .32 to 32 bars, which is very nice. And then with the other knob you can move, change positions in the program, move actually the loop, which is good if you want to build up to a drop and then move to a different point of the song, or just the next point, for example. You've got your standard loop in and loop out buttons. These two are mainly the additions to that I find are quite useful compared to other controllers, because you can have the standard loop in and loop out, but the Traktor Kontrol S4 takes it to the next level by adding in these buttons. Well, obviously you've got the loop change length on, which is normally it was in the form of a button on the Traktor Pro, although it's nice to have it in the form of a knob, so I can actually go and change it straight away. As if moving the controls around, so I can change the length of the loop as well. You have got your standard pitch control there, nothing special really. Yeah, that you got your pitch control. You have the pitch bend, or they call it offset here, which you can control as well. Pretty basic stuff here. Then you have got your play, cue, sync, and shift. Shift allows you to control other functions. So when it's pressed, I can use turn on key lock. It's just like using shift in a computer keyboard, really. You can choose the master as well, or you can take the song back to the beginning. The alternates are there for you to access. Now you've got your standard cue points here. You know what those are, so you've got those as well. You can change them to 5, 6, 7, 8 as well, I believe, just by hitting shift, I think. So you can give that a try for yourselves if you actually have the unit. Then you've also got a sample bar. That's generally if you have this deck configured, say if you're in deck C, if you have it configured as a sample deck, because you can have up to 4 samples on each deck. So you can just hit those, or actually even create your own samples from deck A, then you can just add them straight into deck C. So you've got your 4 sample controls there, which again is quite nice and conveniently located as of which are many of the Traktor S4's things, which as I said are similar to the way they are mapped on Traktor. The deck B is the spitting image of deck A, and at the top I should probably mention you've got your effects controls. If I can get that into focus for you. Yeah, so you've got your effects controls, you've got your dry wet slider there, or knob even. You can turn the effects on and off. You've got FX1, FX2 and FX3. You can change the mode as well, which is useful, so you can have it in the detailed mode, or you can just have it in the column of 3, that's my preferred one. And yes, you have essentially got your effects up there. One thing that I should also mention is useful with the loops. I'll actually reposition the unit so you can see from here. Beg your pardon if you can't see. Actually, you might be able to see it over there. You can see we actually have a mini LCD panel there showing you how long each loop is, which is very useful. And as I said, I haven't seen, well, I've seen essentially no other controllers that have had a function similar to that, which actually shows the amount of bars you're on in your loop. Which is very useful. Again, as I said, the Traktor S4 does not cut anything short. It is the full deal, the full Monty, essentially. And you have more than you could ever want on here, which is why I chose it over other DJ units, DJ controllers, MIDI controllers, whatever you want to call them again. Yes, so that is a walkthrough of the controls on this. This is the front of the unit. The one that you're going to be using the most, I assume. Right, so we'll take a look at the other sides of the unit as well, if I can get that into focus again, because I'm holding it in my hand. There we go. So you have got here your headphone out, and yes, it does work, unlike some other DJ controllers, if you're using it as the sound card. So you've got your headphone out, a Q, whatever you want to call it again, Q mix, Q volume, and these pop in and pop out, which is useful if you are using a flight case or just don't want these to get destroyed in transit. Yes, you've got your microphone volume there as well, and you've got your headphones, so that is all good. Now, on the back of the unit, I'm going to have to make it cry by disconnecting it. To show you. There you go. Now, on the back of the unit, we have got a wealth of connections and connectors. I'll get that into focus again for you. Sorry for this keeps drifting in and out of focus. It's on a fixed focus. It's a DSLR. What more could you expect? So this is the back of the controller anyway. You've got your main out, you've got standard RCA jacks and your 1/4 inch jacks, so more than I would need anyway. I normally use the 2 jacks. On the Mixtrack Pro I just used my Sapphire because the place that I was at actually only accepted jack output, so I ended up using that in the end. Now you have got 2 inputs, so you can input to channel D and input to channel C, and it will work with phono or line. It works with Traktor's Scratch system as well, so you can buy a Scratch Pro upgrade from them and stick on 2 CDJs, 2 turntables, whatever, connect them up and then use them with their timecode CDs or vinyls, and you can have 2 extra physical deck controls and all of that, which is quite good. So you've got your line phono through your USB. You've got your mic input as well with a handy gain control or trim, again, whatever you want to call it. Yes, you've got your mic with your gain, input channel C. I do apologise for the jump cuts here. I'm just having some problems with the camera and I need to replace the SD card. So anyway, I'll just conclude this. So you've got the foot switch there and the MIDI. If I'm going to be honest, not many people use this. Although you could use it, I suppose, if you didn't have a device. Say you could use it as a converter if you had an old style MIDI piano or anything. But I personally hate DIN, so I would never ever use MIDI. I'd use USB MIDI instead, of course, which this controller, funnily enough, does. So you got your USB and your power as well as a handy switch on the back, which is useful. And that's basically all of the control, or input wise as well. So I'll just go through some more stuff with you. I'll plug it back in so we can connect it back up to Traktor. And it does make quite a cool, well, display when you turn it on. So I believe I've got it here. So I will show you in the dark, or relative dark anyway. Ooh, fancy. Yeah, so anyway, that was quite interesting, and anyway, I thought. So that is your Traktor S4 unit. I'll just go through some more of the metrics of the thing. It's fairly heavy. It's as I said, it's a major upgrade, and that comes with not only cost but with well, heft as well. It's quite a bit bigger than the mixed track. Unfortunately, I don't have it to compare at the moment because it's at my friend's house. I bought this between my friend and I for our events. Anyway, so we have got a basic, well, not we've got a more high advanced controller compared to others in the market. It's actually probably right up there at the very top end. It's a 4-deck controller. There are only quite a few. I think there's only a few 4-deck controllers, I think, compared to your standard 2-deck ones. And what makes this unique to the others, it's actually made by Native Instruments, the people who made and designed Traktor. So it's going to be good. A lot of people were skeptical, well, before they actually released it, because it was their first controller. They were expecting to be some hiccups. Obviously, you could go out and buy a Denon controller, which does all the bells and whistles of a main mixer as well. Although, as a software mixer, this does a bloody good job of it. It's got a really good output, really good input, input connections. It's got a full 24-bit audio, so you basically got the Traktor Audio 6 or 4, whatever it is, built into it, which is quite impressive actually. And you have got your mic as well. Basically, all you need is an amplifier and speakers. This will do you completely well on the night, which is very impressive, I thought. And I haven't had a chance to actually test this in a gig yet because it was only a couple days old. But I'm loving it already. It's a really good upgrade. And if you are looking for something more out of your mixer and you want something different, I suppose, or something that will do you well, last well, has a good build quality, and just has everything that you want, or if you're good with Traktor, I suppose, and you can go out and get a Serato one. It's probably its main competitors are probably that Denon controller that I mentioned earlier, the Numark 4-track, and the Pioneer DDJ T1, I believe. I think that's only 2 decks though, but it's up there with the pricings anyway. I was able to actually, believe it or not, pick this up for around £500 on eBay, Manufacturer Refurbished, which is essentially brand new if you know what it means. If not, just go and Google it. It's a really good deal for what it is. Whilst I probably wouldn't end up paying £800 for it with a case, I'd probably go and buy one later on off of eBay again. Although it was a good buy, I personally think, because there is nothing wrong with this at all. Came in a new condition. It is essentially new because the person never used it since I had it refurbished for him. So basically just got it back, then put it on eBay, which is quite a good find, and nobody else bid on the auction, so it was a steal. Really, it was. Not in that sense, but it was a steal in the sense that it was very cheap, and it does the job well. For what it's worth anyway. But if you're able to pick this up for less than £700, it's a bloody good bargain if you ask me. And whilst I'm not up there at the Ministry of Sound and that, I find this is certainly more than enough for most people on the market. But again, as I said, if you are starting, I would not recommend going for this straight away, because it took me a while, actually, it took me a couple hours, both of last night and the night before, to actually get my head around this and understand how to use it. Whereas if you're new to the whole concept of DJing, and computer DJing more specifically, you'd be better off going with a Mix Track Pro or something like that. Although this will do me well for gigs. And it's all I need to take. I don't necessarily need to take a CD or a SD player, whatever you have. But not to say I shouldn't, because you can always have computer failures and that. Although if you do have a reliable system, I see nothing wrong with just taking a computer. Note the word reliable in that sentence. Doesn't always go along well with computers, but oh well. Yes, so anyway, that's basically a look at the Traktor Pro S4, not Traktor Pro S4, Traktor Kontrol S4. This does actually come with Traktor Pro 2 now. It used to come with Pro S4. That's if you're going to buy it on eBay, be sure you check with that. I believe you could actually use the serial with Traktor 2, although it does come with a full copy of Traktor Pro, which is very nice and useful. I suppose, so you get in, so you basically, if you subtract £200 from the controller, that's what the actual controller itself is worth, but you need to also remember that you do have the software that comes with it, which is a fully featured version, full-fat version of Traktor Pro, which is very nice. It runs well. I've never had any issues with it, obviously I haven't, it's only 2 days old. And if you have any more questions about this, please just comment below. Be sure to like and subscribe to me, obviously. And I hope this helped you decide if you were in the market for a controller and you wanted some information about this one. I would personally recommend it over a lot of the other controllers that are overpriced, although it's down to you in the end of the day which one you really want. But as I said, not really a controller for beginners, because it's just, there's more than you would ever need. It's not that you couldn't use it, but essentially it's just a lot more than you could ever get your head around. I mean, I struggled when I started on 4 decks, but I'm getting used to it now, so it's all good. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in future videos.